Have I got that straight? I always get it wrong. I think it's straight from behind. They come around the front and it's like this. It's like, anyway. G'day and welcome. And welcome to my second video on the 302. And it's a cheapy rebuild. Anyone in their backyard can do it. I have elected to change some parts though. And we'll go through what those parts are and what's arrived here and what I'm still waiting on. Some stuff I can't do anything about because the hydroblaster's gone on 2 weeks holiday. And he deserves it. I think he gets back on the 13th. And on the 15th is the settlement on that new place we bought. So there's going to be a bit going on in that week. Pulled the block down. Everything's beautiful news except one thing, and there's always one. On the deck of one side of it, there's a mark. I'll show you later toward the end of the video. So Jason's stuff's all gone. I still have to go back there and do some more work. There's more wiring to do because he's got all custom stuff in his engine bay. So there's more wiring to do and just helping him out till we sort it out. When I went up there, Stuart Campbell was there. It was lovely to meet him. How are you, Stewie? And also Grant Wickham. And Grant I shortchanged because I told him I was going to be there at 9. Then I told him I was going to be there at 10. I got held up all over the place and I was 3.5 hours late. I got there at 12:30. Of course, Grant had to go back. He lives up in the top of Australia, Cairns, I think. So it was sort of a shame. I got there, shook his hand, had a bit of a chat, and he had to go, and it was a pity. So we got the engine in, but I copped a puncture in the trailer, so I left the trailer there. My engine crane's still there, and a dolly, so I've got to go and pick that up too. So this isn't about any of that. This is just about the 302, the cheapy rebuild we're doing. So I hope you enjoy. Right, 302. Giving it a little bit of a wash. Taking off what I can with a wire wheel. Oopsie. And just give it a bit of a clean up. Including in those things, get rid of rusty water and that sort of thing. I'm going to use a pressure washer to do in the galleries. And I'll just use a spritz bottle with a brush. Because I don't want any of that going in the drain. So that's right at the moment. Cheap as chips, doing this sort of thing. Or at least that's the way we're doing it. So that's the way we're going to do that sort of thing. Keep it nice and cheap. This is just super cheap auto stuff. That's not bad. The stuff I had before was quite caustic. No doubt bad for your health. This is more just probably kerosene or something. I don't actually know what it is. It's like $4 a can. Go down some galleries and just do a cheapy cleanup and see how she goes. Well, from what I can see, block looks fantastic. So we'll clean up very well. This is just a sort of preliminary clean. Sorry about that. And all looks good. I can't see any issues anyway. Cam bearings look lovely. I'm not changing those. And a lot of rusty water came out. I shot it in through all the openings where the cylinder head goes. Fired water down all through these. All looking really, really good. So we've got to give it a solvent wash. I'm just going to turn it around just a moment. So this isn't properly cleaned up yet. It's a squirt to see basically what's there. A lot of people panic when they see that broken out. That's like an afterthought hole. So I guess oil doesn't sort of gather in here, although you've got these drains in the centre, so I don't really know. I gave it a mild scratch with a dunny brush hone. The hone pattern was already in there. I was giving it a little bit of a, for any of the glazed areas. I don't know if I'll go any further really. I do have to check between here, these areas here, because they can crack on Cleveland's. Those sorts of spots between the head studs and the things. Coolant passages. But I think this is going to be alright, I'm hoping so anyway. So we'll clean a bit further. I've got to clean all this up properly and then we'll give it another clean. It's rusty at the back, but I don't think it matters much. Clean all the galleries out, put the plugs back in. But otherwise it's really not too bad. It looks really, really good actually. So I'm kind of happy with it. Hydroblasting. Right. Cylinder head bolts. That's a power steering bolt. Cylinder head bolts, they don't get plated. They're just going to get painted around the top. Some of them, there's a tiny bit of muck on that one still, but most of them come up beautifully. That manifold and water pump, they all get plated. They're all oil. I didn't realise I had so many of those. None of those adjacents either. All gallery plugs. You know, your balancer, I've got a couple of plated ones of those. They look like oil pump. They could be oil pump ones, I'll just check those. I need 32 of these done. These here, sump and rock cover. So the quarter inch ones, and I've got the 5/16 ones. This is great on this side, but not good enough to use. Yeah, just not there yet. And really, really stuffed. He couldn't get that out. I'm not going to use that, I'll throw that. Pulleys are good. This pulley was quite rusted, but what it does, this blasting, is it peens the metal. So I didn't take any material off, but, you know, the dipstick's copper, which I didn't know. That almost looked nice polished, wouldn't it? And of course I had that done as well. Thermostat housings, that'll be fine. Good for the Fairlane. These are the balancer. I'm not sure I'll use that. Engine lift hooks. All the overhead gear, which I need to go through. Now, I paid 150 bucks for all this, and there was a couple of other things as well. Really, really good money spent. Pointers, you know, your spring retainer and stuff for the throttle spring. The slingers obviously won't get done. Really good nick. So there's this stuff, right? So much of it, I'm going to edge prime all these sorts of things, right? They just get packed up the way they are. I'll etch those. Obviously not the slingers, but some of the other stuff. Not the overhead gear. And I even got those. You know, I normally replace those, but there's nothing wrong with these ones. They're in good shape. There was one stuff I wanted to chuck it out. There's a dizzy thing there, hold down clamp. So these will get strung up to be plated. I need 34, did I say those? They'll all be plated. They're not, I'll just bag those. And we'll just see what we've got left. Right, so I've etched up all the bits that I'm going to use. That's got a little bit of a dent there. Have to fix that. Pulley, engine mount hooks. This I'll use on the XA. The Fairlane I'll use more modern one. The Fairlane one, oh, I've got one on the XC like that too. I've also etched all the head bolts as well, just the tops of them, not down the shank. So they all sort of have to be bagged up and put away until I'm ready to use them. I can't find my copper wire though. I want to tie all those bolts up and get them down to the plater, but I just can't find them. This is quite incredible. Look at these lands. Look how clean. These pistons are going to be professionally cleaned. All of these, and I was curious about this, 19 thousandths is quite tight. Well, it just fits. So maybe you would call it 19. That one's been filed. So it makes me wonder whether, a couple of things. One, it was probably only 12 or so when the guy built it. Because on an old engine, 19 thousandths ring gap is that's well within spec. There's a lot of kilometres of service left in this thing. But look, you know, looking at it, I'd be saying this thing's probably only done about 40,000 k's. It's difficult to tell, and you can't really tell, it's impossible, but the cam bearing's still really fresh. Even the timing chain, these things are notorious for stretching in a lot of different brands, was really good. So I'm just hoping when I rubble this back, I don't find any little cracks, because I've seen them crack between the gallery and the head stud, or the head, what do you call it? The head bolt hole. So they do go around there. I don't know why. I don't think it's all that common. I think it's if you over tighten them or whatever. But I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm not using the tinware out of this. I've taken things to be hydroblasted. That's not going back in the engine. I've got a better one. You can buy a baffled new aftermarket one for for 135 bucks. So, oops, wrong direction. So all the 351 engines have baffles in them. That thing's almost got a windage tray in it. The XW, that's got a baffled 351 sump. And the other one is here. And it was Mickey Mouse. It was off the Junkyard 302. So that's a non-baffled one. I'll stick that on this one and I'll buy one for that engine. That's the XA's engine. The rock covers really aren't up to snuff either. A few dents. That one's got a great big dent at the back of it. Not even worth repairing that. Although it's super clean. Hydroblasted come up like new. But again, that one's not too bad, but there's a big series of dents just sort of along here. So I'm not using those. And of course, all there. I hadn't noticed that, I've just seen it now. Again, we've got all the Junkyard 302 ones are actually on the XC. But I do have another Mickey Mouse pair. I'm just going to dig them out because I think there's also, well, the ones I'm using on the 351 for the XA are the Power by Ford ones. I've got some aftermarket ones, but they've got one of these sort of fittings on both covers, which I'll cut and weld. Oh, and I bought a jack too. I needed a new jack. I've got to take the old one up to the new house. Let's go down here and have a look in the storage shed. There's a box that says, here it is, Ford V8. Let's pull that out and have a look. I think this is rocker covers, or valve covers if you like, and something else. How the hell did I get this on? This is not what I thought it was. That's an old GT wheel. Hang on. What the hell is this? Oh, that's the centre. Oh, that one's the one that's all bent up. How's it clutch for? Jesus. No idea. I need to open this stuff up and have a look. There's something on. Oh, what? Oh, I remember this. Okay, so this is one of the air cleaners we've got. Right, that's the XA's air cleaner. That's all been blasted and I've etch primed it. That can go back in. But I'll keep this thing out because I'll use that on the Fairlane and repaint it the right silver and all this. I've got a base that's been cut up somewhere, but I've got one that's really rusty and one that's been cut up, so I'm going to cut and shut the bases. That's the snorkel for the XA. So this is like an XY GT one. And I keep seeing XA GTs and they don't seem to have the right thing on them. This is the genuine, what do you call it? Flared snorkel. And that was originally mine years ago when I got that XA K code and I wrecked it. Just separating this oil from the water because I want to recycle the oil. I've got this clear coolant container. That's just oil. And just use a little screw to get rid of the water. And then once it blocks and stops, you know it's the oil sludge, you put it back in. I've got a rag sitting under here just to catch anything. But that's just water. It won't mix with oil, obviously. You can make it mix by putting lots of alcohol with it, but it's not worth it. But there must have been, I want to say 3 litres of water in there. And we're so lucky it didn't get high. There's not much oil, actually. There's only probably, well, I don't know what's left in here. Not that much, really. Probably only a couple of litres. Well, probably, must have been more water because it was right up. I'm going to say 3 litres of water. There we go. And we can just pour that into the oil container. There's still a couple of drops of water coming out there, but we don't want any of that on the ground. And it seems to work quite well. More hydroblasting, nuts and bolts and springs and all sorts of stuff there. Gearbox crossmember bolts, they'll all go off and be plated. That's the aftermarket air conditioning bracket for a Sanson SD508, one of the more popular compressors. A bit more efficient than the Ford York one. I don't really want one of those. Fulcrums, of course, these ones were, I wanted to redo because they weren't quite as good as I thought they could be. What the hell that was. It's obviously a little pulley boss, the pulley itself. Pistons and rods came. Oh, jack stand. Sorry, jack foot. I don't know what you call it. Had that blasted as well. So we'll etch that. We'll etch those. The pulley. I'll take the bearing out so I know what it is. 302 pistons. Looking absolutely marvellous. A couple of bits and pieces just in there still, but hang on. I don't think that's anything to worry about. The ringland's beautiful and clear. And he hasn't gone below that lower O-ring. So underneath is as it was before. Very clean, no grittiness in there, still swivelling beautifully. Oh, and of course there was one bit I forgot about. Right, I just want to have a look at this crank. This is the one from Jason's car. I haven't had it for long. But I want to have a look at it. I think it's spun a bearing, I'm not sure. I'm going to wrap it up. How bloody heavy it is. But I want to take it out and heavy sucker. And just have a bit of a look. So I remember being quite impressed with it. I might just grab the other one and we'll do a bit of a side by side. 302 Cleveland one, obviously. This has been ground 10. This one hasn't been ground at all. So it's never been ground. And it is looser. But yeah, no, they're done. They're tighter. So I'd say that one has never been ground. So that's alright. I'll pack it up again. I just wanted to have a look at them side by side. But this does look better. The one that came out of the thing. I just had some sort of, I wonder if it's run water through it. It looks like it's got some marks in there. But very superficial. I think it'll be fine to reuse. So I'm just throwing everything I've had hydroblasted and etched and everything into this box. Just so it's all in one space. They come up beautifully. All in one place. There's even another set of those. Some rusty ones. I don't remember cleaning those up. But this way it'll keep it safe, and that's actually XC. Well, I'm going to use it for the XC anyway. Just chuck this stuff in there, and that, I didn't pull the bearing out. I'll pull it out when I'm ready to use it. And go and get a new one. But yeah, that way I know where everything is, you know. Because at the moment, kind of lost. I'm finding bits and pieces in all sorts of places which they shouldn't be. So that's a way to start, I guess. Just to put everything in some sort of order. What's that? Oh, that's a thermoquad adapter for the vent. Very hard to get. So might as well use that. Although I'm not sure I'm going to put, whoops, a thermoquad on it. That's a torque ring. So just going through this stuff. The overhead gears, some push rods. And I've got a separate bag for XA V8 stuff as well. I've only got one of those left, which is perfect for this. It's dirty, but who cares? I'll leave that out because I'm going to rebuild it. I think I said that before. And I'm going to look for a square bore EGR plate for that. And I reckon then we're all good. What you wouldn't read about this, right next to my workbench, is this box. That's what I'm looking for. I've emptied 2 sheds to find that, which is unbelievable. So these were originally in that big box I pulled out before, which is the reason I didn't look for the right thing, because I forgot what I put them in. It just says timing cover and rock covers. Let's have a look. Ah, it's perfect. That's what I want. They're in great condition. So they're going on the Fairlane. Oh, already a bit of surface rust now. I'll just wipe that out. They'll go on the Fairlane. I do have to, there's probably a slight imperfection. There's pressing marks and all sorts of stuff there, but that doesn't matter though. They're never perfect anyway. And that also has, there's a rusty one kicking around here somewhere with that fitting for the modern PCB, and that's what I want to put on the XA. So I've got that one, this one, which is just as good. And these are off, I can't remember what they're off. They're going on the Fairlane too, so that's those two. And the thing I want to look at is this guy, which is in much better condition. It looks like it needs another blast, doesn't it? That's in much better nick. Actually, the outer part of the seal's still there. That can come out. You can see the inner. But that's perfect. That's so much better than what I've got. And it really, that's this one here. It's flat through there. This one's getting really close, particularly in there, where that one's got a little bit more meat. There's not much in it really though, is there? Around that side's alright on that one. There's a lot less pitted in that area and around there. I should probably get that blasted. I'll just take that out. But if they're not up to snuff, either of them, I'll chuck them out. I'll put, if that's alright, I'll use that on the ZK and I'll buy a new one for the 351. So while I've been looking for stuff for Jason's engine, I've been sort of looking around. I keep finding bits of mine. Oh, that's not good. That's for the air cleaner. That little one-way valve there. This is really good. Show you what else I found. I found the loom. The XD's got one too. This one here. That goes, it's the factory Ford one. I didn't even know I had another one. So the XD, XC and XZK all have the same type of thing. What's this? I can't remember what that is. Yeah, this. No, not that. What the hell is it? I got Welshies for it. Oh, this thing. That loom there. I mean, it's no big deal to anyone watching this, but to me, that's huge. Because I want this thing to look factory. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a total stickler for plating. There are your rough cover and sump bolts. I've done them in silver for this engine. That's the factory coil bracket with that plug of that loom I was telling you that sort of clicks in the top there. It's a bit wavy down the bottom, but I can repair that. A couple of pointers, they're normally painted. You know, crank pulley, there's the water pump plug there. A few other bits and pieces. I don't know what that is. Inlet manifold, sorry. Engine mount, lower engine mount. Oh, sorry, the one that goes through the thing. Yeah, miscellaneous, 5/16 by the look of it. Water pump and intake there as well. So, I mean, look, there's not an awful lot there, and it was very reasonable. I've tried a new zinc place. It's called Big Zinc in Kilsyth, because Warners are now gone. I rode up there to drop the stuff off, and there was nobody home. So, one of the guys from Warners is still working down there too, and they all sort of know each other. Right, so I've got another bunch of stuff getting electropladed, or sorry, getting hydroblasted first, and then it'll go to the platers, but the hydroblaster's gone for 2 weeks. So that will all be in a subsequent video. Right, we've got parts. We've got a new Crow cam. This is not a big one at all. It's a 21666, so it's got 204 and 214 duration, 481 and 512 lift. That's not a big cam at all, but it's significantly bigger than a stock one. To go with that, of course, Rollmaster. I love Rollmaster stuff. It's a 9 keyway, so we can dial that in really well. Set of HT900s, lifters. I haven't got all the gaskets, I've got some. So, one thing that was missing was the rear main. These are the sort of, not the rope type, the rubber set. So, I've got a set of those. Main and big end bearings, ARP, oil pump drive, it's a must. I've also ordered the cam bolt as well. I ordered 2 of those and 2 cam bolts, one for the XA as well. Running out of this stuff, so I bought another bottle of that. Set of Hastings, these molly and cast. This bore is pretty much like new, so I'm going with molly top, cast second again. If the bore was a lot more worn, I'd just have double cast. And of course, a smelling standard volume oil pump. So not much left now before we can stick that engine together, and while I've got everything out from Jason's, it makes perfect sense. Right, so let's have a look. This thing looks like there's no cracking anywhere. That actually looks really, really good. The block has been machined though. There's radius marks all through it, including this one here, right down there. And it's actually uneven. And it's like the guy milling it has stopped halfway through and gone for a smoke and then come back. Now, I think that's a little bit sloppy. What's quite curious on the other side is there's been damage from And you can see those patterns there. Just let me refocus. See the milling patterns? Now, as we go down, there's nothing like that on the other side, on this side, but something really heavy or something's been dropped there. Now, it's not cracked, but what's happened is there was a coolant stain all around it. And then when I rubbed it out, I found this. Now, it's looking close there. The block should be decked, but it's already been decked. I'm not really sure what course of action to take with it. I know if Tony sees it, he'll say just deck it. And then crack test it, and then do this, and then do that. Bore it and all this, and I'm not doing that. But I'm wondering about that. I don't actually like it. Let me know what you think. I mean, really, you should be able to JB weld in there, and it's not going to go anywhere. But I'd like to see that radius all around there nicely sealed, and it's awfully close. So that's the only thing I've got a problem with. As far as the block's concerned, if I can refocus again, just, oh yeah, there we go. There's no cracking that I can see anywhere around there. It all looks pretty hunky-dory. Focus. Come on. There. I don't think it's been particularly well looked after. But there you go. So, you know, the block is a success. I'm happy with it. We don't have to bore it. You know, there's no lip to speak of at all. I could scuff it a bit more. I'm not sure I want to. I've just lightly scuffed it with the dunny brush hone. But the rest of the hone pattern was all alive and well in there. But I reckon we can get away with that. I'm just curious to know what people think of that, because I'm not that cool with it. Anyway, that's it for this one. Take good care of yourselves, enjoy a classic, and I'll see you soon.